When I went to Guildford Art School, I didn't really enjoy painting as such, and I drifted into sculpture more and more, and I was taught sculpture very well there. I think sculpture should be outside. I think big pieces look good outside, and I think it's an experience for the public to come across a piece outside. It makes them more aware of other things.
The Horse and Rider in Winchester. The Walking Madonna at Salisbury Cathedral. The Desert Quartet at a shopping centre in Worthing. These bronze sculptures by Elisabeth Frink provoke thought and add drama to public spaces across the south, as well as being a perching place for pigeons and seagulls.
It's her scale, it's her visual language, it's the uncompromising approach that she had to representing human nature, I think, which makes her impossible to ignore.
In 1985, South Today filmed at Elisabeth Frink's studio in the grounds of her country house near Blandford. She was using plaster to create a set of 3 figures which would be cast in bronze. Today, that creation stands in Dorchester, on the spot where Catholic martyrs were hanged in the 16th and 17th centuries. It was one of her last major works. Elisabeth Frink died in 1993. Her studio fell into disrepair and was due to be demolished a few years ago. But Johnny Messum had other ideas.
We came up with the idea that perhaps the building itself could in some way be taken down and then reassembled here, back in this building, which is a 13th century monastic barn. Originally it was built by the Abbess of Shaftesbury, and what we wanted to do was to create a home here for artists to come and work in response to the building. I like origin stories, I like where things start. So for me, if you want to kind of get into art and understand it, you've got to go back to the source, and there is no better source than the place where things are made.
Obviously, this is being constructed during lockdown. What particular challenges did that pose?
It ended up being the local farmers, actually, that put it on the back of their truck and brought it down here for me, and they brought the JCB in and they helped me elevate the roof and they helped me get the uprights in. But it was an absolute nightmare. This was her working studio. This is her pride and joy. It's where all her creative ideas came out of and where she really kind of put together her sculptures. So to take that from essentially what was in place, in situ, where it's always been, and then deconstruct it to then reconstruct it within this space, I want it to be the same. I want her, if she was here, I'd like her to be proud.
Most people see a large public sculpture, but they won't have seen how she actually made these objects, and these are kind of the objects that really have the marks of her hands on them.
So when Messums reopens this weekend, visitors can experience the working world of Elisabeth Frink as never before.
Coming out of this period where we've all been sort of forced to look at ourselves and our neighbours and, you know, the people around us more closely, and even maybe spend more time in the natural environment, it feels kind of like this has all come at the right time, I think.
We've really brought like Frink's heart into the barn. So I really want people to be absorbed into the environment we've created.